Black Mage in Smash Brothers and a lot more game modes coming in DLC. I talk about everything. Block content. What's happening, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Question Blocked, where I answer your questions, anything you can think of. Today I picked up a lot of you guys' letters, and I'm going to answer them right now. This first question is, Hi Callum, I've been a fan for a while, and I recently noticed you haven't said who you want to be your 5th Dream DLC character. If they don't make it as the 5th, do you think that they'll be in the 2nd Fighter's Pass? From Meep Harting. Well, Meep, thank you so much for sending in your question. And yes, it's a really interesting thing, right? The 5th character has not been hinted at or revealed at all. We, at this point of recording, know nothing about that character. And to me, it's a really strange silence, right? We haven't heard anything about it during the Video Game Awards. That's been totally crazy. I mean, everyone expected something to be there, and there just wasn't any news at all whatsoever about Nintendo or Smash. You know, some tiny Switch reveals, but that was basically it. So I was a little bit sad about that, and that could have been seen through two different lenses, and they kind of pertain to your question, because it could be the character is huge and they want an even bigger platform to reveal the character, so even bigger than the Video Game Awards would maybe be their own Nintendo Direct, right? To make a huge splash, a huge announcement for that character. Or maybe the character isn't that crazy and they were very afraid that it might not be the big reveal that people were hoping for, and maybe they just want to drop it in a Nintendo Direct Mini or a Nintendo Direct. That could both be the case, or, you know, simply it could have not been finished enough to actually show off. Well, that never stopped Sakurai, because he even shows off wireframe models, he shows off pictures, he shows off like little teasers, so that doesn't seem very Sakurai to me. But yes, so the mad dash to get to that 5th character has been the most interesting, I think, as of the, all the characters that have been announced. Well, my dream 5th DLC character kind of is in the middle of those expectations, because I think if you look at a character that is an icon and would definitely make people go, okay, this character is in Smash, now let's do it. I think Crash Bandicoot would be at the top of that list. Now, is Crash Bandicoot my top pick for the 5th character? Not really. I would say a character either from Ninja Gaiden, Ryu Hayabusa, I think would be a very good Smash character, very unique, a ninja character that's very swift, has a lot of different projectiles and ninpo magic, has this crazy katana swordplay style, I think would fit very well. Of course, the 2 different outfits, so one from Ninja Gaiden and, the classic NES games, and then the later ones, of course, the Xbox games and onward. I think that would be a very cool way to introduce a new playstyle to Smash Brothers. Of course, the Fighters Pass would all be like dudes and like mostly humanoid characters, which I wouldn't be that big of a fan of. I think that a really cool middle point would be a character, well, I like Doomslayer as an idea. I think that Doomslayer definitely needs to be in Smash Brothers, but to me, the one character that would be better than all of that kind of stuff, that would still be a first-person shooter character, would be Master Chief. I played Dead or Alive way back when a Spartan was in that game, so Master Chief in a fighting game could work immensely well. He has, of course, a very heavy Spartan armor that, makes those punches, those blows hit really, really hard. I think that would be a very cool way to introduce Master Chief to Smash Brothers as a heavy character, and also a heavy character that uses a lot of projectiles, because we don't necessarily have a lot of those, right? And maybe it could even rival Snake in that kind of a way. Could you see a battle between Master Chief from Halo, Snake from Metal Gear Solid, all throwing projectiles and these crazy needler guns, and then Snake's grenades and all that sort of stuff all together? I think that visual to me is really, really huge. So to have a character in there that would be a big icon, I think it would fit very well to have Crash Bandicoot in there. If it were being other character, I would say Master Chief. And how much likely I think they are, Crash Bandicoot is a lot more likely to be in the game, just because I think that we already have the Microsoft rep in terms of Banjo. But yeah, it could still be the thing where they were like, Well, we want a little bit more than just Banjo because we're not actively promoting that game or that series right now. So here's a character that we are doing something for, and that's Master Chief, because of course Halo Infinite is coming out, and that's the big new game for the big new Xbox console, Series X. So to me, that would make a lot of sense too. Crash would just make a little bit more sense and would be a little easier to get because of course their games are on Switch now. You know, there's a really great partnership going on with them. So I would definitely see that as the biggest possibility. So my dream character would be Master Chief, and my realistic dream character would be Crash Bandicoot. So thank you so much for your question, me parting. And for our next question, this is, yo, so I wanted to know, how do you feel about all the leaks about the fifth character? Do you trust them or not? And did you ever try to, talk to that guy or girl spreading leaks of those fifth characters? And P.S., last question, what do you really think about Black Mage leak? Your true feelings, please. And then a lot of thumbs ups, and then the name Martin McGraw, which is a great name. You should, go on stage. That's a really cool stage name. So thank you so much for your question, Martin. The fifth character and all the leaks surrounding it, that has been the most interesting part of this, because as you guys all know, I report on that almost every single day, and the landscape changes immensely week from week. If you guys also follow other people in this Super Smash Bros. Fan sphere, you know that every single week someone would be talking about something completely different than the week before in terms of characters, in terms of what sort of DLC is coming, the content, the gameplay, all that sort of stuff. So to me, it's a really difficult task to kind of comb through everything and see this person is talking the truth. This person has, believable information because he called that thing way back when, and that person called Simon and Richter, but he didn't call this game, and he totally, messed up this. So in terms of that, it's very difficult. I like to say the fifth character could likely have already been called by someone, but also they've been on a path to basically deconfirm a lot of characters, right? Which isn't a real word, I know that, but disconfirm characters. So basically saying this will definitely not be from this company, it will definitely not be from this third party, it won't be this character, and that to me is an interesting bit of information. So they don't know what it's not, but they know what it is, or don't they know what it is? So for my money, I like the information that Sabi gives out. It's condensed, it's small, it's these tidbits that, give us a little bit more to chew on, but it isn't outright saying this will happen this date, which I actually like because it doesn't spoil the huge surprises for me, which of course I'm also a gamer like you guys, and I really want to have surprises in my content. And even though this channel is kind of built upon, uncovering secrets and, looking behind the curtain, stuff like that, I also really like the idea of going into something blind and being surprised by something. That's why, of course, we all love Nintendo Direct so much, because they reveal stuff for the very first time. So Sabi to me is one to watch. Vergaben has also in the past been right a couple of times, and Sabi and Vergaben sometimes contradict each other, so that to me is an interesting dynamic where, of course, the term leak wars I threw around, which of course isn't a real thing, and we have so much, desperate and sad stuff in the world right now, I really don't want to push that anymore, so, but I do think that there is some contradiction going on there, which I think is interesting. One person has to be right, one person has to be wrong, or at least somewhere in the middle there. So for me, it's those two. Then I also follow Fat Man on Ice, which I don't think has a lot of legitimate information as of this point, none really proven stuff. And also, I gotta say, sometimes on these big forums like GameFAQs, 4chan, stuff like that, the Smash boards as well, sometimes there will be a shadow drop little message with a little picture, and it will be greatly overlooked. And then later, a few months later, when a character gets announced, we could point to that and say, remember that little post? I saved it, or I talked about it briefly. That actually ended up being completely correct, or that screenshot ended up being completely correct. That is the crazy part about this fandom. That's the crazy part about Smash Brothers in general, is that you have to always be vigilant. You have to always keep your eyes open, because these things have happened in the past. So, if history repeats itself, I just got to keep my eyes peeled on everything that happened. So that's basically why I do all of that. So yeah, to me, I did actually talk to a lot of these guys. I had a conversation with Sabi as well, and I know a lot of other people know a lot of information about this person. All that I'll say is that Sabi is very sweet and a very understanding person. I have not had any big in-depth talks about things, but Sabi was invited to go on the show, so that's still very open. So if you want to join me for a conversation, you are always welcome to be in this sphere. Same counts for other leakers within the scene, and I've actually had a couple on the show as well to talk a little bit about their insights. So I hope to do that in the future, so that's a very good question. And of course, about your last question, that leak that had Black Mage in it from Final Fantasy, if I want to talk about that, my true feelings. That leak had some, credible information to it, I feel. The information that was like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense, really simple stuff like Mario 3D World Deluxe that you could really predict easily, or Metroid Prime Trilogy. And then in there, it was like, oh yeah, and by the way, the final character is Black Mage. Of course, in terms of Final Fantasy, we already have Cloud in there, which is, of course, the biggest icon of that franchise. I think Black Mage is up there as like the second or third or fourth character that's very popular because, of course, Sephiroth and then Tifa, all sorts of different characters from 7 and all the other, 10, I love 9. So that kind of stuff all could be in Smash. I really feel like because they've worked together already, Nintendo and Square, on the Mario Hoops 3-on-3, and it was White Mage, Black Mage, I think the Cactus character too. So all that kind of stuff could still be very possible because they've worked together. So do I think that it is possible? My true feelings would be yes, but a small yes. And I think that they would save a character like Black Mage for another Smash game and not this one. But thank you so much, Martin McGraw, for your great questions, because, yeah, it means a lot to me. So here we go. Our final question of the day is, hey there, Callum. My name's Brandon, and I love your leak videos. They actually get me really excited for what's to come. Here's my question. Do you think we could eventually see the return of more old stages that are missing from the game, that could be packaged together in cheap DLC packs like back in the Smash 4 days? And do you think we could see the return of more old modes, such as Break the Targets and a target test stage builder, Board the Platforms, event matches, and maybe massive all-star mode once all the DLC is finished? Thanks in advance for answering the question. You're amazing at what you do. Keep up the good work, smiley face. And it's from Brandon the Stallion. And some of you guys know that Brandon actually won one of our giveaways just now. So that's pretty funny. I didn't count on that at all. I made the list of the questions that I want to talk about a little bit earlier than that. So this is pretty funny. So, double win for Brandon, which is great. So thank you, Brandon, for your question. I think that it would be an incredible idea to have more DLC packs that are not character specific. I would gladly pay a little bit of money for the stages that are missing in Smash Bros. Ultimate, Poke Floats, a couple of other tiny stages or stages that have now different variants, like Mushroom Kingdom, the version from Melee, I think, is missing, that kind of stuff. The Ice Climbers Mountain from Melee is missing, some scrolling stuff, and of course, having all those in Final Destination or Battlefield forms, that's super cool. I just want to see that kind of stuff. So that, to me, is a really cool idea. Smash 4 did that. And I think it was, because they were working on Ultimate, they were already doing restorations of a lot of stages. So they were like, well, we can earn a quick buck by just releasing Congo Jungle and stuff like that. So here it is. So to me, yeah, easy and very good idea too. So do you think the return of old modes as Break the Target, Target Test, Stage Builder, Board the Platforms, event matches, and even All-Star mode? That's what I would totally love. Now, Sakurai has gone on record and said the final mode that you guys are, pretty much getting is that sandbag, home run contest mode that is actually great, has a lot of cool new things to it, and it's, of course, co-op and competitive and online and everything. I love that. I think that the idea here is that they may be focusing their efforts on the next Smash game. Maybe all the DLC characters are already complete. Maybe they have been complete for quite a while. That's a theory that I subscribe to for a very long time. I think that the timeline is being hidden from the audience because they want to surprise and they want to work on things. In this point in the timeline, it makes no sense to not be at least in the beginning stages of the next Smash game and the next console for Switch or the next iteration of Switch. Might seem a little bit early to you guys, but of course we've had the Switch for quite a while, and we've now actually had Ultimate for longer than a year. I think that it's time to look past, the DLC and maybe think they might be working on something new. So in terms of a new Smash game, I think that Sakurai has to focus his efforts on making it single player, a big single player story mode. I think that people have been very vocal about that they really want Subspace Emissary Plus, a really big new adventure. I think that World of Light had a couple of good moments, but it was nothing at all close to Subspace Emissary, so would love to see something like that. So other DLC modes, I'm gonna have to be honest and say that I don't think that it's very possible. Maybe one more mode could be added just because he was like, well, it's sort of like the last mode, so maybe one more thing. But yeah, I would really see that being something more simple, like a boss rush mode. So thank you so much for your compliment too, and yes, I will definitely keep up the good work. It's been really cool to make videos here in Los Angeles. It's very different for me, everything changed. I think blocked content changed too. I'm about to record some videos that are also super different, that have nothing to do with the way that we do videos like this, where it's just basically podcast content. So you guys are in for a very big treat. So thank you guys so much for sending in your questions, and if you want to have your question answered on the show, just type an email to blockedcontentmail@gmail.com. And of course, please, if you would, press the subscribe button to become a part of the Blocked Content family and hit like right now. That really helps out the channel and makes it possible for me to answer even more questions and talk about the things that we love together. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll see you guys around the corner where there's always more Blocked Content. See ya!